This is the Crossing Bridges podcast, addressing the topics of leadership, criminal justice, and fatherhood. How can we become better leaders? Where are all the daddies? Why is crime at an all-time high? Here is your host, Bayonle Arashi.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of the Crossing Bridges podcast. My name is Bayonle Arashi, and guess what? This is the episode 11 of the podcast. I am very excited, and I want to say thank you to every one of you that have taken time out there to listen on all podcast streaming platforms that the podcast is currently streaming on. Hopefully, the Apple Podcast will approve of it so I can have listeners listen through the podcast platform of Apple product itself. But the podcast is available on all other streaming platforms available out there. I hope very, very soon Apple will approve it and the podcast can be listened to by a wider audience, of course. And if you are watching via YouTube, you're watching the video version, I also want to say thank you to you guys for your feedback, for your support, for adding on to some of the, for giving positive comments on the platform. I'm very, very appreciative of all of you. As I've said a couple of times on the platform, this podcast, Crossing Bridges, was started in order for me to be able to share the path, the process, and some of the messages of what I have learned in the past few years that I have been working with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a correctional officer, and of course, some of the experience I have learned growing up and becoming an adult in the last 42 years, some of my failures in business, in life endeavor, and the process I am currently taking to get better, to get to the final destination of my own journey. Of course, it is not a journey. It is not a destination. It is a journey. So I hope you are enjoying the journey with me and we can all together keep inspiring ourselves. So welcome to Crossing Bridges podcast, episode 11. You might not understand why I'm so excited about it, but there's a lot of work that goes behind recording this podcast every week. As I mentioned in the last episode, there was no form of inspiration for me to record, but I have to dug in deep to just be able to come with the podcast today. And I really, really hope some of us that have listened or that are currently listening, that are watching, will use some of the lessons on this podcast to share with our own younger ones, to share with our own children, to share with our own member of family on process of how they can make their life better, on how their life can really, really, really impact the world, because you have no idea how much you have as with your freedom right now until you can imagine what the life is behind the wall. I'm always very, very willing to share some of the things I see every day at work behind the walls as a correctional officer, not to scare you in any way, but to use it to inspire you because I would rather be an inspiration than to be an icon. So I really, really hope you are inspired by some of the messages and you use some of the lessons I'm sharing on the podcast for yourself to have a different perspective on issues, on the way someone communicates a message to you, on the way people approaches you, on the way you respond to crises and issues of life. Whether you are in high school, middle school, or you are a graduate that is looking to move forward to the next level of your life, or you are already in college studying, or maybe you are studying vocation, there is a lot going on out there. Every day I watch the news for a couple of minutes that I do watch it for. I see a lot of news that are heartbreaking. You see teenagers committing crimes that would throw their life away on the instant. And this really, really, really keeps concerning me, keeps worrying me. And I feel that the reason for this podcast being born is very, very justified. So welcome again to this episode of the podcast. Today, I am going to be sharing with you 10 habits that can transform your life that I am currently using for my life, and I use it every day. and I'm willing to share them with you. A lot of people have shared them in the past as well, and it has worked for them. Hopefully, if you put them into use, maybe you're already practicing some of them now. I'm not sure. But if you put some of these habits to use, it will definitely shape your life in the right direction, because our habits determines our life. Some of the habits that we have that we don't pay attention to are the things that shows up in our life every day, at work, at school, in our community, among our friends. So hopefully some of these few habits that I'm going to share with you today, you're going to see that your life is moving in the right pattern and that you are definitely heading for that successful place. Welcome to Crossing Bridges podcast. And the first habit that I'm going to share with you that hopefully will transform your life and will start transforming your life if you are not practicing them already, and you start practicing them from today or whatever time you are listening to this, will begin that immediate transformation, is daily goal and setting an orientation. Setting daily goal is a very, very, very crucial thing. I do not know this in the past myself, but listening to one of the greatest motivational speakers, but I don't see him as a motivational speaker. I see him as a master teacher, as a father. In fact, he probably earned the right to be called the real American dad. Jim Rohn, an amazing human that lived here, that lived a huge trail. For me in particular, is one of the person that I learned about goal setting from. He said a lot about goal setting, and if you have not been listening to messages by Jim Rohn, there are thousands of his messages on YouTube and on other streaming platforms. You can actually buy some of his books and read. Jim Rohn, it was an amazing leader. He has since passed on now, but he talks about the importance of daily goal setting. You have to set goals for what you want to do every day, and somehow you can think about them in your head. But the best way to achieve those goals is to write them down. You have to have a daily goal, you have to have a weekly goal, you have to have a monthly goal, and more importantly, a yearly goal. What do you hope to do today? The easiest way for you, when you wake up and you follow you follow your spiritual practice, if you have one, I really hope you do. If you don't, I am going to implore you to start practicing any form of spiritual practice you believe in, either Islam, either you're a Christian, or any other religion that you believe. You need a spiritual practice. But after you do this every morning, the best way to remember and be able to fulfill your goal for that day is to be able to write them down. I am not actually telling you stuff I don't practice. These are my own practices in particular. So you need to write your goals down. What do you want to do today? What calls do you have to make? What meeting do you have to attend? What course do you have to study online this day? What do you have to do for this week? How many miles do you want to run in getting in shape physically? How many books do you want to read? What are the other things you need to do? You have to write those goals down. And there is something very, very beautiful about setting goals. If you fulfill any one of them and you look at them and you're able to take it, put a check mark on it, the joy that you feel by doing that cannot be explained. I practice it, like I said, and whenever I'm able to achieve one of my goals, which is one of them is what I'm doing right now, I promise myself that I'm going to record this episode of this podcast, which goes live tomorrow, today. Right here I am doing it. So you also have to practice what you are preaching, right? So setting goals is a very, very important habit that you have to practice. And this is the number one that you have to work on. It is very, very important. If you set a daily goal, you are not able to meet up with it. That's the importance of us also setting a weekly goal. Maybe the ones you set for yesterday, you are not able to check them all. You can actually complete them in the second or the third day, as long as you do them within that week allotted to you. There's also monthly goal. What do you hope to achieve in a month? What is that thing that you plan to say, this month I must achieve this? This month I must save this amount of money. This month I must run this amount of miles. This month I must finish this particular course I'm studying on Google or on Udemy or on Coursera or on any of those several e-learning platforms that are available online right now to improve yourself, to get more skills, to give yourself more capacity to be present and to be a better person. Now imagine if you are not able to complete it in a month, how about in a year? What goal do you set for yourself for the entire year? That this year I'm going to make sure I go to gym at least minimum twice a week. This year I'm going to make sure I have a certification in this area of study. This year I'm going to make sure I cover this amount of games to be able to play for my sports team. This year I will be able to move from playing JV to playing varsity for my high school. You have to set goals. Your mom cannot do it for you. Your dad cannot do it for you. You have to take that responsibility. So goal setting is very, very key to moving your life forward. Let's move on really quickly. The second goal is be result oriented. You have to be result oriented in as a part of your daily habit. What result are you looking to achieve? After you must have set goals for yourself, you have to look at it that, okay, after achieving this, what is the result I'm aiming for to achieve after fixing this particular goal? Being result oriented is a very, very important habit that you have to practice. You have to look at the end of everything you want to do and see if you are going to finish it, because a lot of people start project and they just don't finish. They start this one, and when they have little life hiccups that we all do, they move on to the next one immediately. So they don't see the end goal of the goal they have set for themselves, which is why you have to be result oriented. It's a very, very, very crucial habit that you have to practice as well. The third one quickly is you have to be people oriented. I have also saw this in some of my own leaders, my own masterminds that I've learned from. A couple of them I always mention every time. Late Dr. Miles Monroe is one of my greatest teacher that I never had the chance to meet. He's gone now to meet with our Lord. And of course, I mentioned Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn at the beginning of this podcast. Also, there are many, many of them that God have used for me to help me, to make me understand that you need people to be successful. You cannot be successful by yourself. There is no one man that can say, I did all of this by myself. You always need people to be able to help you with your dreams, to be able to help you with your vision, to be able to help you with your idea. Some of them, you will be able to meet them in person, and some of them you'll be able to meet them through their work, through their books, through going to convention and conferences, through going to some of their events that they arrange. So, but definitely you cannot do anything by yourself. And also through your community. Your community have great people that you can connect with to help you. For example, I am just planning to set up my soccer academy to start. Excuse me, in the state of Texas on the 1st of April. And I have reached out to a couple of people that I'm believing can help me in spreading the message. And believe it or not, a lot of them have welcomed the idea. They have been helping to share the message, and I've always depended on people that can really, really help me to shape my life forward. But as one of my mentor also said, that only quality people are the ones you have to associate yourself with. If you have too many people in your life that are just there, that are not adding to your life in any way, you have to filter them. You have to filter who you want to associate with and who you think you do not need to associate with. So only quality people are the ones that you have to be to have that orientation. So, but very, very important for you to be people oriented. Also, as a business owner or an aspiring salesman, the one reason why you have to be people oriented is that they are going to be your customers. So you need them, and you need to create a very good impression with all these people so that they can go ahead and promote your business, promote your services to other people. Because one of the most powerful marketing strategy that has worked more than anything else is people to people advertisement. When people talk about your business to others, it is easier for them to believe that you are what you say you are, or that you are doing what you say you are doing, because they have had experience with you. So this habit is very, very crucial, and it's something you have to practice daily. It is very, very mandatory that you are people oriented. I'm going to move on now to the number 4 habit that will shape your life in the right direction, that will transform your life if you put them into practice and you are doing them as diligently as possible. You are following them as much as you can, and you keep a check on them every time. I already mentioned being goal oriented by writing your goals down, being result oriented by always make sure you finish what you start, and being people oriented by believing that you need people to be able to help you with whatever you want to do, because you cannot do it all by yourself. The fourth one, of course, is being health oriented. A lot of people want to do something, but they don't feel well. And when you don't feel well, you cannot do much. So your health have to be a priority. You have to look at the food you consume, your portion of your food. These are some of the things that yours truly, myself, right now speaking to you, constantly check myself on. Some food that I love to eat every time, but whenever I pay attention that I'm probably going too hard on those food, I have to put a check on it and say, and ask myself, what are you doing? So paying attention to your health is a very, very important part. Doing your daily check, or your yearly checkup, your yearly health checkup is very, very crucial as well. More importantly, working out, exercising, going out to get that sun, getting that natural air, working on your heart, making your heart to be in a perfect situation, because you are going to need your body. You are going to need a lot of energy to chase your dream, to build your company, to develop your dream, to build your dream. This world is getting faster. It is getting more busier. So you have to be very, very healthy for you to be able to meet up with life challenges. Imagine if you are a dad, a young dad, and you have 1 or 2 sons or daughters, and you come back from work and they want to play, and you just do not have that energy to create time out for them. You are not going to be happy when they grow up and they don't want to spend time with you as well. So you have to consistently watch out for what you consume. You have to watch out for how much you take care of your body, how much you take care of your health, how much you take care of your own self-care. It is very, very important. Mental health education is also very important. As I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I do not watch a lot of news because most times when I do watch, the things I see on TV every time is nothing but negative news. I used to think a lot of people that do not watch news are not very good people, but now I understand better that there's nothing really positive out there. Bad news sells more and quicker and faster than the good news. Every time you watch the news, especially in the Houston, Texas area where I'm fortunately living today, all you see is young people are committing heinous crimes, crime that you can only just imagine in your head. And you see husband killing father, mothers killing her husband, just negative news everywhere. So you have to pay attention to your mental health as well. It is part of being health oriented, and it is an habit you have to form. This is not saying you should shut off your TV like a lot of people say, because I do watch some TV myself, maybe between 30 to 45 minutes TV a day. I do that because it works for me. I don't have to shut everything off just because somebody said it. That is not the way my own life is designed, or that's not my path. But you have to pay attention to what you consume internally and externally. So being health oriented is very, very important. So pay attention to your health. Folks, I really, really implore you, if you have not listened to any of the any of the 3 habits that I've mentioned so far, this one is very, very important. Being health oriented is very, very important. I'll move on quickly to the number 5 one, and that is Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with people. I mentioned this also in the past on the podcast because the podcast has a lot to do with developing leaders, developing the next set of leaders, developing people that can stand, that can say, I said this, and they will be able to repeat it no matter where they are, no matter how much crowd they are standing in front of, no matter how difficult the situation is. Being honest is a virtue that cannot be given. It comes from in between, and it always wins. Evil can reign for as many days as possible because even the Holy Book confirmed it. But kindness and being honest and being truthful will always come out the winner every time. So you have to be honest at all times. Say things the way they are and be very, very open about it. A lot of people will not like it because we have so much negativity. We have so much poor leaders out there that will see white and will call it black, right? Just because of what they want to earn. Some of them have sold their soul just because of what they want to eat. They can't even call the truth anymore. There was a big election that happened in my home country this month of March and in February. I'm from Nigeria originally, and I'm always very, very proud to say that the general election to elect new leaders was conducted in the month of February for the to choose a new president, a new leader for the country, and then to choose new leaders in the House of Assembly and new governors, of course. But with things and visuals that is shown on TV and on the social media that we know how powerful it is these days, it shows there were a lot that was wrong with that process. People were being threatened. They don't want voters to come out, threaten them. Some of them were actually lost their lives. Some of them were assaulted by the security forces that are supposed to be protecting them, just because a lot of people want power at all costs. But this is part of what not being honest will do for you. If you rule people that do not want you by forcing yourself as their leader, the result is not always good. So we look forward to how that will happen going forward. But definitely being honest is a practice, a healthy habit you have to practice for yourself. You have to be honest at all time. I am not a perfect soul myself. So this is not me coming out to you to say I am the honest man out there. But I assure you that whatever I say behind the closed door most of the time, I can easily say it again. And we are all learning. I'm always hoping to learn. I'm always learning. I'm getting better. I'm becoming a better version of myself, as I shared at the opening of the podcast. Moving up now to number 6 of healthy habits and how habits can transform our life. The 6th one is going to be being self-disciplined. Well, some people are saying this probably should be number 1 or should be at the top there, but the fact that it is a top 10 habit you have to practice says a lot about it. Self-discipline is one of the most important virtue that you have to be able to become among the 5% of people that will be successful in the world. 5%, they call it, because a lot of people know what it takes to be successful, but not many of us are willing to do the work. Are you willing to wake up at 4 a.m. to read that extra 1 hour or 2 hour of your book before you go to school? Are you willing as an athlete to put in extra 31 hours to every of your training session so you can be better for it during game days? Are you willing to go to the gym and work on your muscle so that you can be active, you can be present for your work, and you can have enough energy to run your organization? Are you willing to say no to that extramarital affair so that you can always have your family together? You can always be sane at all times. All of these are part of practicing self-discipline. It is a very, very key part of becoming a leader, of becoming a great version of yourself. A lot of people want to be the next Akim Olajuwon. They want to be the next Lionel Messi. They want to be the next Didier Drogba in my own sport, which is soccer now. But how many of you are willing to put in the work? Many of us have a Nike shoe or a Nike clothes because they sold us a vision through that brand of disciplined people that put them on, and we want to feel like those people. So if we want to be like them, we have to be willing to put in some of the effort that these folks put in for them to achieve what they have achieved. Why do Nike will be willing to sponsor an athlete and put and make their brand a special thing for them to put on? Because they have shown out, they have practiced self-discipline for many months, many years, which make them to stand out in their sport, and then they have the opportunity to wear that special brand. So practicing self-discipline is something you cannot do without. So work on your self-discipline is a very strong habit. Moving forward now, self-development. Self-development is the number 7 healthy habit that you have to practice. What are the self-develop? How do you achieve self-development? Reading of books, asking questions, going out to associate with your fellow great minds, and of course, following the basic rules of life. Become a student of life. Keep learning from people that you want to be like. You want to be like. Keep learning from history. Keep learning from folks that have done what you want to do. And you keep developing yourself. Keep questioning yourself about how self-development will work for you. This is one of the major drive of my life, practicing self-development, which one of my own greatest practice is going to be the next one, of course, which is reading. I'm going to jump to that, which is number 8, reading of books. You will not see any successful people out there, no matter the life endeavor, no matter the industry they are in, that will not tell you one of their biggest practice and one of the greatest habits they have is reading of books. Last year, I think I managed to read about 24 books or more. This year already, I'm already on my 4th book because this is an habit you have to practice, because you don't know where you're going to be. You know where you're going to be for people to ask you a question about your subject, about your profession, about the things you said you do. And if you read books, you will not lack the right word or the right thing to say at the right time. So you have to make reading a very important habit for your life. It is one of the most important healthy habits that you must have to take your life to the next level. Read books that has to do with your area of study or area of profession, and not books with a lot of pictures in it. So make sure you read the right books. It is very important. Number 9 habit of successful people is you are going to fail many times, but you have to keep going forward. When you fail, when failure knocks your door, you have to find that inner strength to keep going forward. You have to get up and keep going forward. I cannot share with you enough the amount of failures I have recorded in my life. That was why I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that this podcast is not here to tell you I have arrived or that I have made it, but to show you the process that I am going through in order for me to get there. And as time goes on, I will be sharing more and more with you with some of my failures and some of my successes as well. But this is one of the practice and one of the habits you must have to be able to get to the top of your career. Making sure you get back up when you fail, because you will fail. At one point in your life, life will get tired. You will get tired of life. You will ask questions that why am I here? Is this how hard it is? Yes, that's how hard it is. But the capacity for you to rise up and keep going is something you have to really work on and keep practicing. The final one, of course, which I really hope will help you, is people that are successful practice the habit of doing what they love. You have to do what you love. You have to find it first, and it's very easy to find. What is that thing that when you see, you are excited? What is that thing that you can do? And if nobody pays you for it, you are willing to keep doing it. That is your purpose. That is what you love. You have to find that and start practicing it. But knowing that sometimes what you love is not what you're going to start with, but you have to make use of what you have currently to inspire yourself to work towards, and use that as a form of strength so that it can empower you to arrive at the destination you want to get to, which is doing what you love. Because most of the time, what you love to do does not give you money. So you have to do something that gives you money in the meantime while you are working towards doing what you love. This is the best I can share with you, and I really, really hope you are going to take it to heart. You are going to make use of them. You are going to share this particular episode. It's very, very personal to me. It's very, very important to me. It's the episode 11 of the podcast. I am very excited that I have made it this far. Hopefully next week, I'll probably bring another guest that can come share some fatherhood experience, some of their leadership traits, and of course, how they have been a great father or mother of their kids on Crossing Bridges podcast. It's been my pleasure bringing it to you. Until I see you guys again next week, keep chasing your dream, keep following your purpose, keep finding your path in life, and make sure you put in the work. God bless you. My name is Bayonle Arashi. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Crossing Bridges podcast with Bayonle Arashi. Your comments, suggestions, and ideas are welcomed. Follow Bayonle on all social media platforms at Bayonle Arashi, or visit www.bayonlearashi.com for coaching and speaking engagements. See you next time.